What's going on, gentlemen? Back again with another video. So, I'm headed to the gym right now. I woke up an hour and a half late this morning. I guess I needed some extra sleep because I completely slept through my alarm. I didn't even hear it when it went off. And I had my phone in my bed. So, yeah, guess I needed some extra sleep. I had a wet dream last night. Whatever. It is what it is. So that's what I wanted to talk about since I had a wet dream is, don't be a fucking weirdo on semen retention. You see a lot of guys on the internet really just becoming fucking weirdos on semen retention. And just kind of, I've roamed through Reddit and seen where the guys on Reddit, they have a nofap and a semen retention YouTube or Reddit space or whatever the fuck you call it. Mainly it's the semen retention one. Man, those guys are so fucking weird, and they're always talking about transmuting their sexual energy and blah 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 fucking blah, and all this spiritual shit, right? And that's my main thing that kind of like irks me is everybody tries to spiritualize everything, right? So the guy that I'm sharing this hotel room with is Gen Z. He's 24, and he told me a phrase called moral fagging, and I thought, man, Gen Z is kind of cool. They actually have a phrase now for this thing that I've experienced my whole life, right? Moral fagging. People always try to moralize stuff to me. And so I was like, yeah, spiritual fagging. That's what a lot of people do. People really like to spiritually fag stuff. So they'll sit around and spiritualize fucking everything, dude. I've had people comment on my channel about, like, there was a bird chirping, and they'll be like, that divine creature in the background. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. It's a bird. I used to shoot them with a BB gun with my brother. Like, unless you're constantly tripping on mushrooms, don't talk to me about fucking divinity. Right? Because I meditate more than most people. So when they talk to me about spirituality and stuff, I don't really like to hear it. And I have a friend that spiritual fags everything. And he tries to convince me that just because I meditate, I'm not further along the path than his ass, who smokes weed every single day, is fat, bald at 30, and talks to girls on the internet. That I'm not further along on the spiritual path. And I just won't believe that, I've put the reps in. I've put the time in. Like, you can't convince me any way other than that, right? And so he gets to the spiritual fagging and the moral fagging and starts telling me my ego's in the way and right? And I see that a lot. Like I said on that Reddit, when it comes down to semen retention, it's a bunch of dudes that, like, they all want to be God, right? And I get that. I get it. Okay? That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that. My only problem with it is, if you're God and I'm God, you need to keep your God shit over there away from me. Right? Don't bring it around me. Don't come trying to be God around me. And so I see a bunch of dudes spiritualizing everything. Everything is just overly spiritual, right? We've got self-revealed now, bringing a woman on, talking about entering your priestess and all this stuff, right? And he even made a video about how he had kind of lost his way, and he really did. And, he wanted me to get on with his community. I didn't do it because him and I didn't really align on everything. And that started to show itself through his videos. And now he had a gay had a gay dude on. I joined the live stream. The dude was crying because his dad wasn't around. Playing the victim, not taking accountability. He said he didn't have an example of what a man was and stuff. And I get that, and I get that it might hurt and everything like that and stuff. But, take accountability. You're an adult now. And if you still don't know how to be a man, that's your own fucking fault, right? I have my brother 2 years older than me. He was a fuck up, right? When we were kids, if his favorite color was red, my favorite color was red, right? I was the younger brother, and he became a fuck up. So by the time when he was a teenager and I was a preteen, I was separating myself. If his favorite color was blue, mine was green. I was specifically going to pick something that wasn't his favorite color, because I was separating myself. He was a fuck up, and I didn't want to be like him anymore. And so he got in trouble, and he got taken out of our home. I didn't get to see him for 3 months. When I finally got to see him, I was with my parents. My parents hugged him, and then it was my turn. And as soon as he looked at me, I was standing behind my parents. As soon as he looked at me, he broke down and started crying. And we hugged each other, and he was sobbing. And then we let go of each other, and he looked at me and said, "You're taller." I was 13. I was going through puberty. I had grown a couple inches over that 3 months that he hadn't seen me. I'd grown. I'd gotten taller. And it destroyed my brother, because he knew that he wasn't being an older brother for me. He knew that I was growing up without him, and he knew that I had already separated myself from him. Mentally, he was gone. Right? He was physically gone, and I was 13, and I did that. And so now we've got a grown man on camera crying because his dad wasn't there, and he still hasn't just broken it off and gotten over it. Right? Go through the breakup, dude. Cry. Get over it. I did it when I was a fucking preteen. I'm getting my first pubic hairs, and my brother's not around. Right? So, the very next video, he brings a girl on. Some old woman who's likely single and is a priestess. Whatever the fuck that is. Right? And it's a woman. Women operate through their sexuality. Right? We all know this. If she finds you attractive, she'll hang around and talk. If she doesn't find you attractive, she'll call you a creep, tell you to go away. Right? My job, I'm approaching people inside of grocery stores to sell to them. And I hate approaching young women, because they're always touching their hair and moving around and touching their boobs and fixing their butts and stuff, because they find me attractive, and they hang around. Sometimes I can't sell to them because their parents are paying for it, right? And they want to hang around and talk. And I'm like, I'm fucking working, and I don't want to talk to you. Like, yeah, cool, you're, like, kind of pretty, but everything about her is fake, right? Got a ton of makeup on, and, I can just tell. It's like, you have a lot of mental health issues, and I don't like having people with mental health issues around me, because everybody has mental health issues, and I'm constantly having to take care of everyone else, right? So I'm selective, and so he's bringing a girl on, right? The main point is, just don't become a fucking weirdo on semen retention. Don't get obsessed with it. Just make a commitment. Say that you're done watching porn. Make that your minimum fucking commitment. No more porn for the rest of my life. If you start getting urges, this is what I used to do. I made a video on my 8-year journey, and I made the commitment to no porn. Sometimes, when I was fucking younger and I was all fired up, I'm still all jacked up on testosterone. But when I was young and I had less impulse control, I would just jerk off. I'd gone 2 weeks. I had been eating healthy, gotten a lot of sunshine. I was teed up. Some girl was tempting me at the gym. I would just jerk off. Anything to not watch porn. That was my mindset. Anything to not watch porn. So, That's the main thing. It's just not becoming a weirdo. Still being a human. Not talking all this gay spirituality stuff constantly. All the fucking time, dude. And letting it cloud your head, right? And get you in a weird state. You don't have to have fucking sex all the time as a man. Like, God bless America. When are we just gonna admit that? When are we just gonna admit that we have an over-obsession with sex because it was sold to us when we were children and we've been programmed that we need to have sex all the time? When you were a caveman, you weren't able to have tantric sex with your wife because you didn't have time. You didn't have time to do all that, to sit around for 2 hours massaging your genitals together to meet God. Right? It's all just cope. It's just cope, right? The dude said it himself. That he's like, I got overly lustful or overly sexual, and I got to a place where if I couldn't have sex with my woman, I felt like I was gonna die. Yeah, bro, because you're addicted to the hole between her legs. She owns you and controls you. But you're on semen retention. Big balls. So, I'm not trying to take shots at you, self-revealed, if you see this. I'm just using you as an example for everyone else. This is a lesson for everyone else. To just stop being so attached to the whole. All the power is with females right now. There's one female that I work with that outperforms me, and the manager asked her yesterday in front of everyone, what is she doing? How is she outperforming everyone? She literally smiled. She has a great smile. She's Libyan, so she's African, right? She's super dark, and her teeth are perfectly white, perfectly straight, broad smile. She's just got a great fucking smile. And she literally said, I just keep smiling at them, right? And I looked at my boy and was like, pretty privileged. All of us already know. We already know she doesn't do anything. She outperforms everyone. She doesn't do anything. It's strictly because she's a pretty female. She makes a lot of money, right? Apparently there was a girl in this office before I showed up who was the same way. She was really pretty and she outperformed everyone constantly, all because she was pretty, right? She just got what she wanted. We live in a feminized ass world run by women. And every time you think about women and you will have sex with them, you're giving up your own personal power to the female. That became my big driving factor 5 years ago when I said I was going to be celibate when I was 24. Was I had realized that I had given all my power, all my strength to females. And I've talked to females about this, about how it's my power, it's my strength. I'm not going to give it to a woman. And they get very uncomfortable because they realize they have no control over me. They have no power over me. They become extremely uncomfortable around me because they can't do anything to me. The ball is in my court. And so it's like all these dudes start retaining just to get pussy. And I say that like, right, like Self-Revealed finally said it in one of his videos, in the one that he made about semen retention being intense. He said that's what we're all doing it for. Finally you stop spiritual fagging and you admit the truth. I've been saying that the whole fucking time, right? Y'all remember, I've said this shit with the Marshall Brockway stuff. I'm ahead of the curve. I get the least amount of views and the least amount of subscribers because I say the shit that's uncomfortable. I say the shit that people don't want to hear, right? I'm not telling you what you want to hear. You're retaining so that you can get some ass. That's it. Admit the truth. You don't give a fuck about spirituality. If you did, you would quit your job and go be a monk, but you won't do that because you don't give a fuck about it. So, right, don't spiritually fag. Don't morally fag this stuff. Admit the truth. You're retaining to get some pussy, and you're kind of soft for that. You're kind of soft for that, right? I've had those moments when I first started retaining and I started noticing the female attention. That was like the main big thing for me, right? I was 21. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't even know that I was retaining. I just was like, yeah, I'm just going to stop watching porn and jerking off, right? And I started getting so many women. That was all I cared about. It was just smashing girls all the time. And like I said, when I was 24, I realized females control me. Females have power over me. This is why sometimes when I'm around them, I feel disrespected. I feel slighted by things that they say or the way that they act. It's because they have power over me and they know they do. Right? There's a song, I can't even remember who sings it. It's a rap song, and he says, pussy powerful, but ain't more powerful than guap. Right? Pussy's powerful, but it ain't more powerful than money. The true power always lies with a man. And if you retain and keep your power with yourself, keep your mind focused on money instead of women. Fuck bitches get money. If you stay there, the power is with you. The ball is in your court. Men will always have power over females as long as your priorities are straight. If you're concerned about yourself, your life, and you making money and not getting some pussy all the time, the power is with you. If you're constantly concerned with getting pussy, the power is with her, the females. The dude I'm staying with, he didn't jerk off for 3 days. He was jerking off every single day. And he committed to me that he'd stop jerking off. He went 3 days without jerking off, downloaded 4 dating apps, swiped on a girl on Tinder, busted, bro. She was fat, saggy tits, 21, not an attractive face, bro. She was like a 4. Like, just unattractive. Nothing about her told me that there was any feminine beauty. Completely unattractive. He didn't want to show me the pictures. And he gets up out of the hotel and goes, thank you, Nick. You changed my life. I'm getting some pussy. And leaves. Goes and stays the night with this girl. Smashes her all night, several times. Comes into work in the morning. Clothes wrinkled, hair fucked up, brain fog, just looking like a retard. Complete different change from 3 days of not jerking off to then. And I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, you're completely controlled. When I was 24, I wasn't controlled by females. I was doing that when I was 21. You're completely controlled by females that aren't even pretty, that aren't even worth bragging about, like ugly girls, dude. That's who's controlling you. It's disgusting. And so it's the same thing going on. A dude gets married and he can't go several days without having sex with his wife. You should be able to have your wife flirting with you, trying to get you into bed, and your mind is just always locked in and focused on work that you're like, get away from me. Go away. Why are you flirting with me right now? You guys have never experienced that. You've never been able to actually deny a woman that you do like and you are attracted to. You've never been able to just tell her no because you're too concerned about her feelings. She's going to use those feelings to control you, stupid. Girls constantly use feelings and emotions to manipulate people, to manipulate situations, mostly to manipulate men. Because part of them is testing to see if you have a soft spot for her. Because we naturally do as men, because they're weaker than us. So we naturally have this soft spot for females where we want to be nice and take care of them and blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing, guys. If you actually give them the equality that they ask for and you treat them like a fucking human, they don't like it. But they're so turned on by it, right? Because they're females. They don't understand themselves. And pretty much everything about them works in the opposite direction of what it should work, right? So she wants you to be attracted to her. She wants to be pretty. She wants you to look at her. Then when you don't do that stuff, she likes you even more, right? The office that I'm working in, there's a young 19-year-old girl. I've talked about her before. The first time I ever spoke a word to her, she looked at me with a look on her face like pipe down white boy. Turns out, she's apparently, we're not supposed to do this, but apparently she's with a black guy in our office. Now, all of a sudden, I've made my money, I've done my thing, I've just been me. I'm not concerned, right? She comes up one morning trying to start a conversation with me. Just out of nowhere, just comes up, starts talking to me. Like she knows me. We've never introduced ourselves to each other. And she calls me by my name. And I respond to her as a platitude, but it's clear that I don't want to talk to her, right? I'm looking at her kind of like, yeah, no, like that look on your face, like I know what it is. I've experienced it before. You didn't come with respect in the first interaction, right? And I'm not that kind of guy that'll give a woman some grace because she's giving me a shit test. I don't like that. No, you respect me. You don't shit test me. You can shit test me 3 months from now. Initially, it's respect. So, now we're in the office. She looks at me every morning. Every morning, the whole time we're in the office, I catch her glancing over at me. I catch her fixing her hair around me. I know the body language, right? Her feet will be pointed. We'll all be standing, listening to the manager. Her feet will be pointed at me. There's another girl, the Libyan girl I was telling y'all about. She's the same way. Her feet will be pointed at me. Every single morning, I look at their feet just to see, and they're always pointed at me. And I'm like, yep. That's because I don't give a fuck about them. And I'm not a pussy. If you're a pussy and you don't give a fuck about the girls, well, it's nothing. It's nothing to them. But if you're the man and you're locked in on money, that's what you care about, and you're actually retaining, your balls are full of sperm, you're literally fertile, and they can tell, they can smell that you're fertile in the pheromones in the fucking air, and you don't look their way, you don't do anything except say good morning to them and then keep it pushing. They love it. They love it. They want you. But you're too obsessed. You're too concerned with a female. Most of you couldn't stand in that office without looking and checking on her. Having to look around like a fucking weirdo. So, I've seen that happen a lot. Dudes get real weird on the internet in general. They get real weird about semen retention and stuff. Never forget, for all of you fellas that watch my shit all the time, I'll shout some of y'all out. I've seen y'all commenting on my stuff since the beginning. Renegade Zen, another metal fan, Cam Conscious, guys like y'all, that have always been watching my shit, never forget that I call shit before it happens. I've called the Marshall Brockway shit. I've called the shit that Self-Revealed said. I say the shit that no one else wants to say. I say the shit that no one else wants to hear. I was saying it for months. You're retaining, right? I literally made a video titled Overcome PMO and Get a Girlfriend on Semen Retention. But that was all I talked about. Was the whole purpose of you doing this is to get a fucking woman. It's because you're tired of being disrespected by women. You're tired of being ignored by women. You're tired of being looked at like a little piece of dirt by women. Everyone denies it. Everyone denies it. Everyone denies it. I talked about Marshall. He's losing his mind now, jerking off all the time, using sarcastic comedy to cope with the fact that he hates himself because he sits around and jerks off all the time and females never look his way, and he wasted his youth without realizing that he's still in his youth. You're like 32, bro. You're still fucking young. You're still a bull. It's all in your head. So for guys like y'all that have been with me the whole way, shout out to fucking you. When I make a bunch of money, I'll give you some fucking money just for supporting me, right? You don't have to give me money. I'll give money to you for supporting me. Because it's like, real recognize real, baby. Let's go! Real recognize real. This is supposed to be a double shot of espresso. I'm pretty sure she gave me 3. This cup is almost full. I don't fucking know. Yeah, it was definitely more than 2. Down the fucking hatch. Oh, down my gullet. Right? So, you know, that's my main thing for y'all, is just don't become a fucking weirdo. Don't, like, be obsessed with girls and this and that. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Right? Just be a dude. Holy shit. Where are the fucking dickheads? Where are the douchebags? The dudes that are just kind of like, yeah, give a fuck. Right? They just don't really care about the girls. Like, give a fuck. I want to make some money and buy a fast car and smoke cigars, right? I smoked a cigar for the first time in a while last night on my way home from work, and it was fucking delicious. And I literally did not have a single thought about a female. You guys, when you're thinking about females, you're constantly putting that vibe out. You're constantly putting out that thought and emotional vibration that females are on your mind. And females are much more excuse me. They're much more sensitive to that stuff than men are. Intuitively, right? They have a natural feminine intuition. They can tell when you're thinking about them. They can tell when you go home and fantasize about them. And they can tell when you don't give a fuck about them, right? Eventually, I'll have a wife, maybe 4. I'm not going to give a fuck about her. I'm going to love her, but I'm not going to give a fuck about her emotions and shit. Like, that's not... No. If you want me to care for your emotions and hold your heart, I'm going to do it my way. Because I'm a man and I'm in charge and the power's with me, not with you. Alright guys, so this is something that I could just go on and on and on about, but I'm going to wrap it up here. Don't be a fucking weirdo on semen retention. Have some actual balls between your legs. Alright? Subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends. Comment what you think. Like the video. What the fuck ever. Get it out into the algorithm so we can get the fucking truth out. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.